Hi everybody, Crafty Crystal here. This tutorial is going to be to make this compass rose. In case you don't know what a compass rose is, it's what you find on maps where it shows just the north, south, east, and west. Actually, that would be this. I've got it at an angle so it'll show up in my camera. This is a companion piece to the written pattern. And the reason for that is you don't want to spend 68 hours long with me crocheting this. So I have the pattern and I explain important points like adding on your corner radials, adding on your background, what to do when you decrease, things like that, how I start the beginning. And I try to explain the whys as I go along so you understand what's going on. There is one wrinkle I came up against. Well, a couple wrinkles. First off, I had never done a solid granny square. I added one to each corner as I went. I ended up with a bowl. Try as I might, I could not get it to work. It kept getting thinner and thinner out here, and I couldn't figure out what the matter was. You need 2 extra stitches in the chain space in order to do it and make it come out square. Okay, got that straightened out. Started all over again. Started doing these, and I came up with a wrinkle. If you notice, these here are curving. It gets quite extensive, actually. It gets to the point where from the start to the end, you've got almost a full length of a row sticking above where it's supposed to be. At the point I figured this out, I said, I'll figure out a solution to it. I'll try to jury rig it or something, but right now I'm not taking this apart again. What I did more or less was I took long strands behind here and I pulled them tightly, and it helped draw it in a little bit because it had a real bow on it. Much worse. Then you come out here and the bows turn into ripples. So again, long strands going across here, about every 3rd row. And you just take your strands and you you tie one end, double back on itself, hold one end, and you stroke it like you're petting a cat until it flattens out nicely and feels nice and firm. And then you take that and double back. And I did that, and that helped a little bit, but I still had a pretty good bow. So I started messing in, adding in little half double crochets and stuff. Try to straighten it out. Excuse me. Just so I could get it done and not have to start over. And so I came up with a solution. And I wanted to show you the solution. It turned out to be very simple. I tried 2 or 3 different ways. This is what I ended up with. When you have this material and it keeps increasing, all this one is doing increasing. Any increase makes just a slight bow, okay? Usually that's okay because you're not increasing every row. But when you make a slight bow here, and then you make a slight bow on top of it, and then a slight bow on top of it, you have a bow, and a bow, and a bow, and a bow, and you end up with a big bow. And it's not a rainbow. It's not pretty. So, this is what I did, and it's very simple. Every decrease has an increase next to it. So, when you're the very first of the increase, the very first stitch of the increase is going to be your double crochet. The second one is going to be a half double. When you are approaching a color change, a decrease. The very first one is going to be half double. The one next to it is going to be double. This pulls it down level. You see here, even on the very first, row, with the two increases side by side, it's level. Didn't have that here. We already had a bow. We already had a bow starting. See that? And by the second one, it was a much bigger bow. By the third, it was getting very big. By the fourth, it was over half the size. And by the fifth, look at that. Look how much of a bow. And yet, on this one, on this one, on this one, on this one, the bow is very slight. Very, very slight. And I don't think I could get it slighter. It'll certainly last until you get to the end of your corner radials, and then you won't have that trouble anymore on that side, and this side should stay pretty calm. So that is what I want you to do. I'm writing it in the pattern, but all through the tutorial I did it the other way, what you would normally expect, which was 2 double crochets in the same hole. So look on your pattern and remember this part of the tutorial where I'm telling you every time you put an increase, the one farthest away from the decrease that you're compensating for is going to be a half double. Now if you like, you can do the whole pattern in half doubles. In that case you would do a double for this one, half doubles for everything else, and it still turns out good. I tried that too. I went out to 7 rows and it came out okay. So let's start the tutorial. Thank you for watching. And you can choose to start this project with a chain 4, slip stitch it together and work in the loop, or you can start it with a magic circle. I prefer a magic circle. To do this properly and when it's large enough to work in, come over the back of your hand with your tail, go around 2 fingers, go around 2 fingers, hold the tail with your thumb and little finger, bring your feed yarn back in, hold it too. That just gives you extra control on this, which otherwise be flopping around. You bring your hook under your first 2 stitches, your first 2 strings, okay, and you pull the back one through. Now go through the back, pull the back through that, and there's your slip stitch. Okay, your tail is pointing in the same direction as your hook, so you'll be working over it again. Now you want to chain 2, and we're going to be putting half double crochets in the middle of this granny square. And you know how to make a granny square, I assume. You do your 3 stitch clusters with a chain 2 in between. Just like that. The beginning chain counts as 1. So you have 3, chain 2, and 3, and chain 2, and on around until you have all 4. With all 4 of these on, side 1, 2, 3, and 4, I'm going to pull my loose end to find out where my circle is it's attached to, which loop. and it's this puppy right here. Pulling that on the same end as the magic circle. The other one keeps getting in the way. There. Now that pulls the other circle tight. Then you pull on your loose end and pull it tight. See there? And a slip stitch into my beginning here. Now this is the corner. First stitch, second stitch. So third stitch is right here. Count backwards every single time on this project. Because if you don't, you're going to miscount. Oh, come on, baby. Nice little puppy dog. There we go. It's good enough. It's not rocket science. Okay. Now, the one and only time on this project that you will be doing this is right now. We're going to turn the work. So chain 2, turn the work. Now we're going to work right back into the corner. So we want to put, including the chain 3 up, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets in each corner. Normal granny square starting here with a little difference. 2 differences actually. Right here between these 2 sets, they always tell you to put a single chain. We're not going to do that. You go from this set directly to the next set. Okay. Now the reason why I had you in the middle, start in the middle, is because when you go up, you're going to be changing colors right here in the middle. You're not going to be changing levels over here. You're going to be changing levels right here. And if you were starting on the corner, you'd be changing levels on your corner every time, and it's more awkward. If you like it that way, fine. You're welcome to. If you think it'll cover your chain up, you can do it that way. But this is where I like to do it, right here. You have so many color changes going on in this corner radial. It would be a lot more confusing to start here. So it's really better to start right here in the middle. Everything's under control. Now, as you can see, I've already got a head start on you. The reason why I didn't show you how to start with yellow is this light does not like the yellow. When I tried doing it, it was too confusing. It wasn't showing up properly. The blue is much more soothing to the camera, I guess. Okay. Now, when you are changing from one color to the next, the transition, you never complete your double crochet. You bring your second color right through. This brings the loop of the last loop over the color it's supposed to have, like that. Instead of bringing this color over this bar, it's got its own color. So that's the best way to transition. Now I'm trying to remember to work over my string. I tend to forget that when I'm talking. And so every time I do the video, I say, oh darn, drop my string, drop my string. So I'm trying not to do that this time. Okay, now when I put even on the pattern, it means one stitch in each stitch below it. Okay, so that's what we're going to do up to the end, working even. And I'm doing doubles, as you can see. Now, on a closed granny, on a solid granny, they tell you to put 2 stitches in the end in the chain space and chain 2. And when you do that, it seems to make the holes a lot bigger. So what I want to do, you don't have to, you can do it their way. But what I want to do is I want to put 2 double crochets in the stitch right before the corner. So I'm still getting my extra 2 stitches in per line, but I'm only stretching that corner out with 1 stitch for each color. Okay? Now at this point, I need to transition. So I pull my new color in. I'm going to do my chain 2 with the new color. Come around and do my double crochet in the corner. Do my 2 double crochets in the stitch next to the corner. And work even back to the transition. Now you don't have to lay your cords underneath. You might have 2 yarns that really don't get along together. You might do this in white and black. It will show through. So just leave long tails. But be aware, that's a lot of tails. That is a whole lot of tails. This is what you're going to run into. Because this has 2 tails and this has 2 tails. Back and forth and back and forth. That's a lot of weaving in. So if you can get away with it and carry your color behind so it doesn't show through the front, then I would suggest doing it this way. Both have their own level of pain in the neck. The level of this one is, did I remember to? If you don't remember to, pull out a longer loop instead of cutting the tails right away and just let it hang down. It's easier than taking it apart. You can cut it in the middle and weave it in later. But if you can remember, most of the time, you're in good shape. So here we are, back to the beginning. I've got 9 on each one. So I'm going to count back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this stitch right here is 9. That's the one I'm going to want. So I'm going to take that color, finish my stitch, and go down into that stitch. Pull up a slip. There. Okay. On the next row, we're going to be starting the corner radials, CR in the pattern. These are the prime radials, PR, and CR. It's easier than writing the whole thing out. The radials that are going out from the corners, you just put CR. Okay, let's chain 2. I don't want to forget this guy. Little memory enhancer here. Okay. So you work even across. And we're going to work one of this same color into the last stitch. But we're not going to work both colors in, both stitches in. So we're working even to the end. And now we're going to transition. See? And we're going to work the second double crochet into that stitch with a new color. Work one in the corner. Whoops. Bring up your other color. And I didn't carry it, so I'm going to leave me a loop to tie in my chains. Okay. Chain 2. One double crochet into the corner space. One double crochet into the space next to it, the chain next to it, and go back to the other color to complete that stitch. So we're starting out our corner radial with 2 stitches in each corner. And now we work even back to the center. Most of your straightness of your lines and stuff will be in the adjusting of the last loop and the first loop of each color. There. There's our corner. We've got the 2. Oh, girl, I didn't do 2 stitches. See, that's why you're supposed to count. See how bad I am. I didn't count, or I would have known right away that I did not do that. Okay. The second stitch goes in the stitch next to the corner. Like I was saying, you have your you have your 1 stitch in the corner. Your next stitch is in the stitch next to the corner, and then you transition over, and your first new stitch of the new color is in that same corner. So you have 2 stitches, 2 stitches, but you have 1 of each color. Okay, now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We should have 10 in this row. We do. Okay, little bell whistle went off. I had 9 in this row. I'm supposed to have 11 total in this row from center to here. I had 10 because I didn't count down here. I'm supposed to have 9 down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Where's my 9th? I didn't put my 2 stitches down here. See there? Oh. So I'm going to have to fudge it up here. We're going to fix it a little bit. What I want to do to fix it, so I don't have to take the whole thing out. Oh, almost did it again. Go back in here and put my second stitch. I'm going to come here and put another stitch. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to put 2 stitches. Now I'll end up with the right number of stitches. Every crocheter has to learn to fudge, because if you don't fudge, you are going to drive yourself insane, spending more time taking out and redoing than you do making. And that takes all the fun out of creation. There. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And that's what I'm supposed to have, is 11. So I'll make my transition. Carry my back thread. And I'm good to go. Okay. Okay, this is row 7. On this row, we are going to decrease the prime radials from 9 down to 8. And we're going to increase the corner radials from 2 up to 5. The total for the line from center to corner will be 13 stitches. Now I have 7 already, and I'm going to use the last 2 the same color to decrease and change over. There we go. Now put one here. Have to increase because I decreased. So 2 to 1 here, 1 to 2 here. Now this is the last stitch before the corner, so we put 2 stitches in it, and that makes 4, and then 1 in the corner, and that makes us 5 for our completing our 13 stitches. Okay. Now we transition over, chain 2, one in the corner, 2 in the stitch next to the corner, one in the next stitch, two in the next stitch. So here's our increase to match the decrease we're going to make. Here's our 2 for the last stitch in the corner, in the next to the corner, and here's our corner stitch. Now we'll transition over again and do our decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's why you have to count backwards. You'd miss that and you would be up the creek without a paddle. Okay, there's our decrease. That's 1. Come on. 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So it came out right. So we have our 8 and our 5, which makes 13. Chain 2, our 5, and our 8, which makes 13. And that's the corner for row 7. Row 8 is a super easy one. We had 9 down here in the prime radials. We decreased to 8 up here, and we're going to repeat 8 this time. So we need 18, 15. We need 15 stitches from here to here this time. So we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, one more because it's the last one before the chain, 14, and one in the chain, 15. And that's it. You change over to your other color and you come back the same way. So we have 8 and 7. And the 7 includes your increase and the one in the chain. Okay? Next time it's going to get a little harder, so straighten up. Row 10, we're doing 7 of the main color. We're decreasing to 5 on the corner radial. We're doing 7 again on the prime radials. Okay? Now, already transitioned. So we're going to do the first 2 stitches just normal. Since we didn't decrease, we don't have to increase on the edge. And 3. Now we need 4 more. So we're going to put 2 in this one, the last color. And then we're going to put 2 in this one. See? We don't have this huge zigzag in there. Okay, now our next color. Transition over. I'm so not used to working with a lot of colors. One at a time is plenty. Okay. Now you notice what I did on the edge here. I went ahead and I did a regular decrease type where you just don't finish the last loop. And I'm going to stick the next 2 together. Like that. See? Nice smooth transition. Then I do 1 double crochet. Then I do 2 in this next one. That's the one next to the chain. And 1 in the chain. Then we'll transition over to the next color. Chain 2. 1 double crochet in the chain 3 space, and 2 in the next stitch. One in the next stitch, and then we're ready to 3D decrease again. So this time I'm going to put the froggy looking one, the bunchy one, on the inside, and then add the next one to it, like that. TM, transition to main color. And come down here and put our double. I'm going to show you a little trick. See how this kind of zigs in here a little bit? This side is always going to look different from the other side because you're coming to it from a different direction. What I do is I go in here like normal, but then see this stitch down here, this area down here? I'm going to come down in and I'm going to stick a loop up from that and bring it through all 3. See there? I took a big zig and turned it into a little bump. Like that. Instead of coming all the way over here, it comes over there. And that's 2. I need 1, 2, 3, 4 more. 1, 2. Nope. Got a hiding behind here. 3, 4. And 5, 6, 7. And 7. Okay. Now you can always come back with yarn and a thread and just bring the yarn up. In fact, I probably do it with a little hook. Maybe you shouldn't have that small of a hook, huh? There we go. Always come back with needle and thread or yarn and a hook and just fill in the little hole. That. Okay. Now I'm going to transition. Now you transition back. Since we didn't increase here or decrease here, we just do our 7 across. And we're done with our round 10 corners. Voila. See you at 11. Row 10. We're doing 7 of the main color. We're decreasing to 5 on the corner radial. We're doing 7 again on the prime radials. Okay? Now, already transitioned. So we're going to do the first 2 stitches just normal. Since we didn't decrease, we don't have to increase on the edge. And 3. Now we need 4 more. So we're going to put 2 in this one, the last color. And then we're going to put 2 in this one. See? We don't have this huge zigzag in there. Okay, now our next color. Transition over. I'm so not used to working with a lot of colors. One at a time is plenty. Okay. Now you notice what I did on the edge here. I went ahead and I did a regular decrease type where you just don't finish the last loop. And I'm going to stick the next 2 together. Like that. See? Nice smooth transition. Then I do 1 double crochet. Then I do 2 in this next one. That's the one next to the chain. And 1 in the chain. Then we'll transition over to the next color. Chain 2. 1 double crochet in the chain 3 space. And 2 in the next stitch. One in the next stitch. And then we're ready to 3D decrease again. So this time I'm going to put the froggy looking one, the bunchy one, on the inside. And then add the next one to it, like that. TM, transition to main color. And come down here and put our double. I'm going to show you a little trick. See how this kind of zigs in here a little bit? This side is always going to look different from the other side because you're coming to it from a different direction. What I do is I go in here like normal, but then see this stitch down here, this area down here? I'm going to come down in and I'm going to stick a loop up from that and bring it through all 3. See there? I took a big zig and turned it into a little bump. Like that. Instead of coming all the way over here, it comes over there. And that's 2. I need 1, 2, 3, 4 more. 1, 2. Nope. Got a hiding behind here. 3, 4. And 5, 6, 7. And 7. Okay. Now you can always come back with yarn and a thread and just bring the yarn up. In fact, I probably do it with a little hook. Maybe you shouldn't have that small of a hook, huh? There we go. Always come back with needle and thread or yarn and a hook and just fill in the little hole. That. Okay. Now I'm going to transition. Now you transition back. And since we didn't increase here or decrease here, we just do our 7 across. And we're done with our round 10 corners. Voila. See you at 11. In row 11, we're making a decrease again in the prime radials down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From 7 down to 6. Our corner radials are going to go down to 4. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to go down to 4 next time. So, since we decreased on this edge, we're going to increase on the main color. Put 2 here. And we're going to work even over to the last stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. On this stitch and the next stitch, we're going to increase. So we're increasing twice. 1, 2, and 1, 2. I wish both sides transitioned as easily as the left side. Much better. Okay. Now we're going to transition over. And we're going to do another 3D decrease. So we're going to start like we would do a normal decrease. Then we're going to do a little double whammy on this one. And then through all 3. Now the next stitch left is the last one before the chain, and we always do 2 in that one. So now we're going to follow a 3D decrease with an increase. Like that. And then put 1 in the chain space. Transition. Chain 2. So guy out of the way. 1 double crochet in the chain space. 2 double crochets in the next. And oops, go right from the increase to the 3D decrease. So we're going to do the funky one first, so it's on the inside. Then the regular decrease on the outside, like that. Only I'm supposed to be transitioning. There we go. I get so busy talking to you, checking out the monitor, I get everything messed up over here. Okay. Now we're going to put 2 in each of these here. Because of this little zigzag, I'm going to go in here, pull up a loop, down here, pull up a loop, in here and pull through 3 loops and pull through 1. And that reduced my zigzag. Now I'll go in here and I'm going to make 2 here. And then I'm going to do single double crochets, 5 of them, till I get to my last one. 3, 4, and 5. And since I'm decreasing here, I have to increase here. So 1 and 2. And transition. Now we're not on the corner radial, so regular decrease. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're done with our corners. Okay, and that's the corner for row 11. Row 13, and we're going to do something different again. On row 13, we decrease these 6 down to 5. So we do a regular decrease here. Because we decreased here, we increase in the first main color stitch. Then you do 12 double crochets, and it brings you to the last one. And in this one, you're going to do 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and in this first of the corner radials, we're going to do 1. Change over the color. And we're going to do a regular decrease in the end here. So we do 1, okay, and then our corner one. And change over. Chain 3, chain 2. I'm all right. Been a long day. Okay. 1 double crochet on the edge. A regular double crochet, a regular decrease with these guys. Actually, considering the slant problem on this side, I would just give it 1 extra here. Come through that so you only have two loops on the hook. Transition over to the main. Okay. Put 1 double crochet in here. And if you want, you can go that little extra mile and bring that up. Okay, and then we're going to put 3 in this one. That is the first of the colored ones to the main color. Okay, getting down to the wire. Only got 2 left here. Okay. Okay, changed my mind. I'll do it like I originally did it. I just thought it might make a better transition. It doesn't look like it. Looks rough. Okay. So we'll do a regular decrease then, just like we did on the other side. And transition over. Yeah, it doesn't look good either way. What are you going to do? Just work on it. Okay. It's just the corner radials are just really, really tough. It's really hard to make them. That's probably why nobody's done a compass rose before, because they just said, it got to the point where, ah! Okay, now we do 3 in this one. Well, just the way the cookie crumbles. Then we'll do 12 back to here. We'll increase on the last one, decrease here, and do 4 double crochets. And we'll have 5 here, we'll have 18 here, and 2 here. Okay, that gives us a total of 25. Okay, that's 13. Row 12. Row 12, we have 23 stitches from here to here. We have 6 again on the prime radials. We have 14 of the main color. Now it really is getting to be the main color, huh? And then 3 on the corners. Now, save a little time. I went ahead and I did the 6 regular here. And I've done 10 of these. There's no increase or decrease here, so it's just straight transition over and crochet. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets in this end stitch. And we're going to do 2 double crochets in the first stitch of the corner radial. And then transition over. And again, we're doing something a little different. So pay close attention. Okay. Now, we're going to do our 3D decrease. And you notice we're using the stitch next to the chain space in our 3D. We're going to come back and we're going to use that one more time for a regular double crochet. So that's 2 stitches, and 1 in the chain space makes 3 stitches for this side. See? Now the reason why I don't do a regular double and then the 2 in here, it wouldn't work out right. It just wouldn't, or just a single in there even. It wouldn't, it doesn't draw it in far enough. So we're doing it this way. As I say, you take it apart and put it together enough times, you finally get the right way to do it. Okay. Okay, transition, chain 2, come back in the chain 3 space, or chain 2 space rather, sorry. And now we're going to do 1 double crochet in the space next to the chain. And then that's going to be part of our decrease. So we'll do the funky one first, the funky half of the decrease first, because it's too bulgy for the end. Okay. And finish off the decrease the normal way with the next one. And transition to main. Finally, the main color is becoming the main color. Now, you want to double, got the tail in there. I'm going to double crochet, and I'm going to do that little zigzag thingy with a double crochet coming down there. Oh, that didn't turn out right. What did I do wrong? This has to be tightened. This has to be tightened. Somewhere in here it has to be tightened. Split my yarn. Okay. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go down here. Now this here is the next stitch I have to go into. See this one? So the one right here? I don't want to lose track of that because I'll lose my place. I'm going to go ahead and finish that stitch. And come down into that stitch and do my 2 double crochets. Now, like I say, you don't have to do it that way. You can just go back and fill it in with your yarn. But this makes less of a trouble, less to fill in. And looks better. Okay. Now I just double crochet straight. No more increasing because I do not decrease on my prime radial. So I'll just double crochet straight to here, transition, come over here with my 6 stitches, transition, 6 stitches, and go back to the other corner. And that's our row 12. Row 14. On this one we have 27 on each side from the center to the edge. We have 21 main color stitches. We're keeping 5 in the main radials because we reduced from 6 to 5 last time. So we have 5 again this time. And we're reducing the end to 1. Also on this one, we are putting 2 double crochets in the last main color stitch, and then 2 in the first color stitch for the corner radial. And I'm going to come down and do my little zigzag here. It makes less to clean up afterwards. Okay. Now we switch over to here. And we have 1 stitch and the center. So we're going to do this. And instead of doing all 3 together, we're going to do these 2 together like this. And put this together like this. Okay, this is going to be your point. Now you see what I did there? Let me redo that. Takes a lot of little adjusting back and forth. Okay, so you transition to your color. You go in the first stitch, just like you're going to do a regular decrease. Go in your chain space, just like you're going to do a regular decrease. Then you put these two together. And then you put these two together. Okay? That'll give you a little bit longer point, and it'll give you a stronger point. And you notice I didn't transition when I finished this. Bring in your next color. Chain 1. That's your chain 2 space there. Okay. Then come down in the chain hole, just like you're going to do a regular decrease. Go in your last hole here, just like you're going to do a regular decrease, and then come up till you only have 2, and this is when you put your main color back on. Leave extra long tails on your main color. Especially when you get up this far. Okay. Now we're going to put 2 in here. And we're going to put 2 in this last main color stitch. And then 17 down to here, and our last 5. And then it's time for me to go up to the next level. Now this is actually the last time you'll be putting color in these corners here. So when you tighten them up, it'll look like that. Okay, see you on the next round. Row 15. On row 15, we are decreasing our prime radials down to 4. So you do 3 double crochets and then join the last 2 stitches into a decrease. Because you have a decrease here, you have an increase here. So in your first main color, you put 2 double crochets. Then you make 19 single crochets, double crochets across to your end. Your last stitch. Yeah, I want you to get close on this one. This is going to drive you nuts. Okay, on your last stitch, you're going to do 2 double crochets. And then here's the stitch in the radial, the last stitch in the radial. Go into that one and do your 2 double crochets. Okay. Now, let me do my little zigzag there. I'm used to doing it now. Might as well. Okay. So there's my 4 for the end. 1 for the decrease, 1 added on for the decrease, and 2 for the corner. Okay? Now, you chain 1. Wrap twice. Do a triple down into the same last corner radial stitch. And bring it up until you have 2 on the end. 2 on your hook. Wrap twice. Gotta be careful here. You have 1 stitch and you have your chain stitch. Leave your chain stitch alone. Go into your single stitch. 2 and 2 and bring it through all 3. So you're doing like a regular triple crochet decrease, but you're doing it in the corner. Chain 1. Double crochet twice in this end hole. I'm going to do my little zigzag here. Double crochet in this last main color hole twice, and there's your 4 stitch increase for the end. Plus, what you've done here is you have your usual corner. The center corner piece here is the combined triple. And this gives you the end of your corner radial. Okay? And you just do your 19 double crochets back to here. Do your increase. Do your decrease here. And make sure you count your stitches. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. Don't forget this one. This and this are the ones that you decrease to. Then you do your 3 double crochets and transition over. This corner will straighten out nicely after the next row. Okay? Finally got done with the corner radials. Row 16, your corners are back to normal. We have no colors in them. This is the last time that we'll do the same way we did all these down here, where you do 2 in the one in the last stitch and 1 in the corner. From now on, since you don't have to worry about seeing a big hole in your color, you just go ahead and do your 2 stitches in the corner. So it would be 1 stitch for each stitch along, 2 in the chain, chain 2, 2 in the chain, and 1 stitch for each one. On row 16, we still have 4 double crochets in each prime, because we reduced last time to 4, and every time we reduce, the next one we do the same number. So no increases, no decreases. And from now on, the corner, we don't have to cover the corners at all. Row 17, we reduce to 3. So if we reduce here, we increase here. So it'll be double crochet, decrease, increase, and then do your corners around to your next one. On row 18, we're going to repeat the 3. So there'll be no increase here, no decrease here. And around do your corners. Row 19 will decrease to 2. So we'll do 1 double crochet and these 2 in a decrease, and then the next stitch in the main color is an increase. Row 20, repeat the 2 double crochets, and row 21 will come down to 1 double crochet, and I'll be back on row 22 to show you what it looks like when we get down to the point. So I'll see you on row 22. I'm just at the beginning of the 21st row, And I wanted to show you how to do this beginning single stitch. This thing keeps popping up on my screen. Okay, so I've just done a changeover. I'm going to do the slip stitch. Sort of. There we go. Now just chain 2. Come down into here. Like that. And then change over to your color, your main color. And pull it through. And now you have one single stitch on top. Okay? Okay. Go into the first stitch, drop a loop through 2. Regular decrease here, no big surprises. Change over, make our transition through all 3 loops. And we have one of that color loop left on the top. We go through here, pull up a loop, go through here, pull up a loop, and make our transition into the main color. Come down into this stitch. This is loose. Where are you? There. And do a regular double. The second one is going to be a half double. And then you do your, I'm going to do a second half double and then continue on with my doubles. This is helping to take care of this bowing problem. I've had to do so much adjustments for the bow. That's why I showed you earlier how to change over to this so you have flat sides. Took a little figuring out. I got so discouraged with it, I said, I am not taking this all apart again. So I got me another piece and I worked on it. So if you do it that way, instead of the way we've been doing it for this whole thing, you will have nice flat sides. Now I'll be back to show you what we're going to do in the end here. We probably won't come back with this color again. We're going to come back and we're going to lock these 2 together like this. Okay? We're going to do a decrease right across the points. So I'll see you back at 22. Okay, I came around to the end here. All I have to do to totally finish off using these other colors is combine, do a decrease, switch over, stay in with it to the end. Okay, do a slip stitch into this single stitch over here, and that's it. We're done with the radials. Now I'll come back and show you how we're going to bridge that. Okay? Okay. This is the row we get to totally close off over the top of this radial. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. The 2 color and the 1 on each side that we use to decrease. When we decrease these, we will meet in the middle. So we're going to do this one. We're going to do our first decrease. And normally we would come right over here and do our second decrease, and that's going to leave a hole in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fudge a little. Just a little. Okay. Then Then I'm going to come over here and do the other part of the decrease. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. Now, did you catch what I did? I did a sneaky in here. Okay? Just the plain 1, 2 decrease here, or increase here and increase here would have done it, but we'd end up with a hole in the middle. So I did the 2 for the increase. So that's the 1, 2 for this side. And I came in here and did a little sneaky here. Left it on the hook. Came in here and did a little sneaky here. Left it on the hook. Now I have all 3 of these on here. I've already completed these 2. So I'm going to come over on this side and I'm going to do my first decrease hook. Decrease. And I'll do my second, increase. First stitch of the increase. There we go. And there we have it. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Have our 4 and 4. That's all it takes. After this, you just go around like a regular square, all you want, as big as you want to make it. Then you come back with your yarn and you smooth out your sides. So they look like this. See there? Did it here. Show you. Comes out real nice. That's just using the yarn and a needle coming out and smoothing out the sides. See? I haven't done it out to here. I did it when I was back here just to make sure it was going to work. So, okay. That's pretty much it.